Greetings everyone, I am Dr. J, and welcome to what I am tentatively calling the Steam Indie Showcase. With how many games are arriving on Steam and with how little curation there is on the platform, it can be difficult to find the ones worth spending time with, and it's really easy for a game to be lost in the shuffle or ignored entirely. While I'm a small channel with little to no reach, my hope with this series of videos is to stymie the tide. Every week or two, I intend to go through the Steam release list and find a game that I think is worth drawing attention to, in the hopes of either addressing the problem outright, or inspiring larger content creators to pick up the slack. For our first video, let's start with something quick and simple, mostly because it was $2 and I don't have a lot of disposable income right now. It's a 2-hour game called Blueprint Word, which is a really generic title but seemed interesting by virtue of the trailer. In essence, it's a puzzle game where you're trying to form words through moving a series of gears. It's a simple concept, but one that they do a fair amount with in its short runtime, and is something that proved to be a nice distraction from the games that I usually play. Part of this is due to the minimalistic look, as it knows it's a simple game with a simple premise and doesn't complicate things by throwing in a ton of overdone animation, flashy insanity, and all of that silliness. It's actually kind of charming in some respect, as it's a very clean looking game because of that. All I can say against the game's presentation is that the ambience is overdramatic, but given the subject matter, I'm not sure what else you would put next to it that wouldn't be out of place in some way. Maybe something more mechanical, but if this is supposed to be a relaxing game, then I don't think that would necessarily mesh either, so there you are. Either way, the reason why I decided to talk about this was due to the solid pacing, which for a lot of my reviews is the make or break point of a game. In this case, they managed to shake up the puzzles and what you use to solve them just enough to where it remained engaging, without it feeling slow or tedious. First, they simply relied on turning gears. Then they changed the position to where you need to be more conscious about where everything is set up. Then they add extra letters that you don't need and can't use to further confound you. Then they add little sliders that connect different pieces together and have to be used strategically. And so on, to where even towards the end, they had more than enough ways to shake things up. I won't mention all of them here, as it's worth seeing them firsthand, but the variety on display was fairly solid. Bear in mind, however, that this is coming from someone who doesn't spend a lot of time with puzzle games and is generally garbage at them. I'll admit that the reason this took me a few days to complete was because I ended up getting stuck and needing to step away a couple of times. When that happened, though, it was usually just a matter of having had a long day at work or something else was on my mind at the time, which normally meant once I returned to the game, I figured it out a lot faster the second time around. So even for me, it wasn't too challenging, but I don't think it was really trying to be difficult anyway. With that said, I've been fairly positive towards the game, so what are the issues that it has, and what do you need to know going in? Well, to start with, it is only 2 hours. It's also only $2, but if you're looking for something to really sink your teeth into, you're not necessarily going to find it here. There are a couple of points where they were surprisingly cheeky, despite how little they could do within their chosen framework, but this is very much a bite-sized game. Also, because of the aesthetic, it isn't always obvious how you're supposed to interact with it. All of the instructions are given through symbols, and if you're quick enough to get through the introductory levels, then it's possible you'll miss instructions before you realize them as such. Speaking as someone who didn't realize he could turn the gears both ways for the first half hour, hence why I call myself an idiot when it comes to this genre. In that case, it would be nice if there was a menu to show the control scheme, as to my knowledge there's no way to see it outside of that first level, but again, I'll be gladly proven wrong if that actually is there and I'm just an oblivious imbecile. Besides those issues, however, I'm already glad that I've started doing this, as this is not a game that I would have found if I didn't actively look through the release list on Steam. If you're interested in looking further yourself, the link to the game's Steam page is in the description below. As for this video, thank you all for watching. Please like and share this if you find it deserving, and keep an eye on this channel for more game reviews as well as other content posted on a pseudo-regular basis. I'm hoping to make this kind of content a weekly occurrence, but due to life circumstances, I don't anticipate being able to do that for another month or two. Still, even if it's not a perfect first step, I wanted to put something out to get the ball rolling, and a short game like this was the perfect way to start out. As a result, I can't guarantee when the next video in this series will be out, so please consider hitting notifications so that you'll know the moment that another video is added and I can officially call it a series. Outside of that, feel free to leave suggestions, criticisms, and anything else you have to say in the comments below, and I'll see you all later.